It's a big decision setting up your own business. But with the right preparation and mindset, it can be an incredibly rewarding journey. In this episode of the Business Matters podcast, we'll follow the story of Sam, who is taking the leap into entrepreneurship. Let's see how he navigates the process of getting his new venture off the ground.
Sam, thanks for joining us today to talk about your experience of setting up a new business. I'm sure our listeners will find your story really insightful. Let's start at the beginning. What made you decide to take this step and become your own boss?
Well, I've had the entrepreneurial bug for a while now. I've worked in corporate jobs, but I've always felt this pull towards doing my own thing and having more control over my professional future. The pandemic actually accelerated my decision. I was made redundant last year, and that forced me to really reflect on what I wanted to do next.
That must have been a difficult time. How did you go about setting the wheels in motion to get your new business registered and established?
The first step was to register the company I wanted to trade under a specific name that I had in mind. That process of incorporating the business and getting all the legal paperwork sorted was quite daunting at first, but I made sure to comply with all the necessary requirements. I also had to think about the share capital and how I wanted to structure the ownership.
And what about securing financing to get things started? That's a critical part of the process, I imagine.
Absolutely. I knew I would need some capital to invest in the business, so I decided to take out a loan. That was a big decision, as I wanted to make sure I could repay it and not end up in a situation where I was running up a big overdraft or getting myself into serious debt. In the end, I was able to get a flexible loan that suited my needs, and I'm confident I can manage the repayments.
That's great that you were able to access the funding you needed. What about the day-to-day operations? What have been some of the key things you've had to get to grips with as the new business owner?
Well, one of the big adjustments has been having to sign all the checks and really be on top of the finances. As an employee, I never had to worry about things like paying the bills or making sure there was enough in the account to cover outgoings. Now, I'm fully responsible for that, and I've had to get much more disciplined about managing the cash flow and keeping on top of the accounts.
I can imagine that's a big shift in mindset. What other aspects of running the business have you found challenging so far?
I'd say one of the trickier things has been dealing with any issues or disputes that have come up. As an employee, I was used to someone else handling those kinds of problems, but now I'm the one who has to resolve them. I had a slight disagreement with a supplier the other day, and I had to draw on my negotiation skills to try and settle that dispute in a way that worked for both parties. It's all part of the learning curve, but it can be quite stressful at times.
I can see how that would add a new level of responsibility. And what about the upsides? What have you enjoyed most about being your own boss so far?
The flexibility and autonomy have been incredible. I love being able to make my own decisions and steer the business in the direction I want it to go. There's a real sense of pride and ownership that comes with that. And of course, the potential upside is huge. If I can make this business a success, I stand to see a really strong return on my investment. That's a big motivator.
That's fantastic. It sounds like you've been through a steep learning curve, but you're really relishing the challenge. What advice would you give to anyone else out there who is considering taking the leap and setting up their own business?
I'd say the most important thing is to really do your homework up front. Research the market, understand your costs and cash flow projections, and make sure you have a solid business plan in place. It's also crucial to be realistic about the risks and potential pitfalls. There have definitely been moments where I've run into trouble or felt overwhelmed, but if you go into it with your eyes wide open and a willingness to learn, the rewards can be incredible. Oh, and make sure you surround yourself with good advisors and support networks. That's been invaluable for me.
Brilliant advice. Sam, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. I'm sure our listeners will find it really inspiring and informative as they consider their own entrepreneurial journeys.
Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure. I'm just grateful to be on this exciting new path, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it takes me.
Wonderful. Best of luck with the business. We'll be sure to check back in with you down the line.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
There you have it, the ups and downs of setting up a new business, straight from the mouth of an entrepreneur. Tune in next time as we explore more stories from the world of commerce and industry. This is Business Matters, signing off.